The Cold War continues between the GOP and President Biden over America's debt ceiling, and surprisingly, I agree with a Republican about how the president should address it in his State of the Union speech tonight. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So speaking of Cold War, I am personally at war with a cold and have been for the past few days. So if I look and sound rougher than usual, that is at least one of the reasons why. So let's jump into it. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, the president is scheduled to give his constitutionally mandated State of the Union speech. And according to many people, a centerpiece of that speech is expected to be the ongoing debt ceiling dispute between Biden and, more specifically, not just Republicans, but most specifically House Republicans under the leadership of Kevin McCarthy. Now, the way this has unfurled so far is that, just as a reminder, because we talked about the debt ceiling before, we're going to talk about it again and again and again because it's a major freaking issue, not just in the abstract, but to everyday Americans. This is a big freaking deal. This could affect each and every single one of us in profound and expensive ways. So as a quick refresher, the debt ceiling is essentially the congressionally imposed limit on what the U.S. Treasury can borrow to pay America's bills. It has nothing to do with future spending. It has nothing to do with potential spending. It's about what the Treasury can borrow to pay our current and past obligations. It's basically our credit card limit. And it is raised or suspended all the time, like 80 times in the past 60 years, and the vast majority of those times have been under Republican administration. So if they try to tell you, hey, we don't raise or suspend the debt ceiling, we're fiscally responsible, they're lying. They are more likely to raise or suspend it than Democrats by far. And as a matter of fact, they raised or suspended it at least 3 times under the Trump administration in 4 years, okay? But now that it's a Democrat in the White House, now they want to play chicken with the debt ceiling, as they did under President Obama, in particular back in 2011 when Joe Biden was vice president. And when that happened in 2011, they essentially told President Obama, we're not going to help you raise the debt ceiling unless you agree to cuts. And Obama felt like he was bent over a barrel, and so he agreed to negotiate with them. And it was a disaster, and it brought us to the brink. And even though we were able to raise or suspend the debt ceiling at that time, because it took so long, the United States credit score dropped for the first time in history. It cost us hundreds of billions of dollars in borrowing costs, and it was an incredibly fiscally irresponsible move by brinksmanship in the Republican Party. In 2011, the debt ceiling, 2021, 10 years later, when President Biden, his first year in office, the debt ceiling was hit again, and Republicans again refused to help Democrats raise the debt ceiling, even though it was to accommodate spending under the Trump administration. You see, they play games when Democrats are in office or in the White House, and they don't want anybody to play games when a Republican's in office. It's an ongoing double standard and hypocrisy. And the consequences for Americans are profound, right? Moody's Analytics, a major financial firm, they did an analysis on what would happen in 2021 if the debt ceiling wasn't raised or suspended and America defaulted. And then they've updated that analysis in 2023. And it would take the unemployment rate, which is right now historically low, 3.4% under President Biden, and bring it back up to 7%. So millions of people would lose their jobs. It would cost trillions of dollars in household wealth, because despite what you may be told by your racist uncle, it's not foreign creditors who are the primary holders of America's debt. It's us, it's U.S. citizens. We own the vast majority of America's debt. So if we defaulted, it would cost us trillions of dollars in household wealth. People would lose their retirement, their jobs, interest rates would soar, insurance rates would go through the roof. It would be a disaster. That's the game that Republicans are playing with President Biden. And President Biden, to his credit, as of now, is still saying, I'm not going to negotiate on this. We're not doing this. This is bipartisan debt. And the solution needs to be bipartisan. And we're not going to operate by different standards where Democrats in good faith will help you raise the debt ceiling or suspend it to protect the American economy. But you get to play games with us over it. We're not going to do that. It would set a dangerous precedent. It's stupid. It's irresponsible. We need to cleanly and without concession raise the debt ceiling. Republicans have indicated that they're not going to do that, so we'll see what happens. However, I am hoping that President Biden does learn his lesson from his time as Barack Obama's vice president and sticks to his guns on this. Understands that the GOP, they don't negotiate in good faith. They operate by cruel double standards, and this would be a dangerous precedent, right, to allow them to dictate the terms. I hope he sticks to his guns. And I'm not the only one. So, too, believes this is Michael Steele, the former Republican lieutenant governor of Maryland and the former chairman of the Republican National Committee from 2009 to 2011 under President Obama. Let's hear what this man, a lifelong Republican, he's been a guest on Real Time with Bill Maher more times than I can count. He's an analyst, a commentator. Let's hear what this lifelong Republican has to say in terms of how the president should address this tonight.
Right behind the president tomorrow will be Kevin McCarthy. Between the two of them is the elephant in the room that's the debt ceiling. How does he approach it?
I think if I'm the president, I approach it head on. In fact, I may turn back and say, are you with me, Kevin? I mean, right? Are we on the same page here? Because the folks out here need us to get this done. I think the more he makes this a blue-collar moment, put it in the context that Republicans are trying to move into that space. They want to now become the worker party and all of that. All right, you want to do? Let's have that conversation. Because if you don't come to the table on this issue, those very same workers may not have a job tomorrow. Those very same workers are going to see higher interest rates, may not be able to buy that first home. All those things that come from the intransigence of a Republican Party that wants to own the libs at all expenses, including at the expense of the American voter, that's how he should frame it. I wouldn't hold back on that. I'd lead right into it and say, okay, y'all want to sit here on your hands and boo this, and then go out into the country and explain why it doesn't work.
Michael Steele.
So, yeah, I think Michael Steele has it right. I think he's completely right. And again, that's conventional wisdom from not just a lifelong Republican, but from a Republican who opposed President Obama. Again, he was the RNC chair from 2009 to 2011, the same year that the historic debt ceiling, games between Republicans and Obama were played. Again, where we lost our credit score, where our credit score dropped, and it cost billions upon billions of dollars in additional borrowing costs and all these things. That man, who was there for all of that, is saying, no. Biden needs to play this very differently from Obama. And that's how you know that this is the right thing to do. Democrats and liberals and leftists and progressives, everybody who is not a MAGA Republican needs to have a keen sense of what's going on here. If we run into a debt ceiling issue, it will be entirely, not mostly, entirely, 100% the fault of the Republican Party. And we need to make sure that that's being conveyed appropriately. This is a hypocritical double standard, brinksmanship played by cynical Republicans for political games, because as Michael Steele says, they're more interested in owning the libs at any cost. And when he says any cost, he's talking about, again, trillions of dollars in household wealth that's on the line, an unemployment rate, again, going from 3.4 to 7%, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars of additional borrowing fees, the United States credit dropping, high skyrocketing insurance rates and insurance premiums, the loss of retirement, everything. Everything is on the line. And if that happens, it will be the fault of Republicans. So hopefully President Biden does what Michael Steele suggests and really lays it on the line here that, hey, almost daring them. Hey, are we going to do this? We need to get this done.
Hey, you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.